Hey everyone, welcome back to The Data Pour. I'm Steve MacLauchlan, head of data at EPON Technologies. Today I am at the Answer Brewpub and my guest is Maddie Koerber, the CIO of Estes Forwarding Worldwide. Maddie, it's so good to see you. Thank you for being here.
Happy to be here.
Let's have some beers.
Let's do it.
I have some interesting facts about the Answer
Please
Brewpub.
tell me all the
Those
facts.
facts.
Yes, please.
Okay, here we go. First and foremost, the Answer Brewpub was started by An Bui, who is of Vietnamese descent and moved to the Richmond area in the mid-'80s.
Okay.
And was actually sponsored by St. Bridget's. So his family left Vietnam on a sponsorship and came here. Not long after, they opened Mekong, which
Okay.
anyone who is a beer aficionado in
Yes.
Richmond knows Mekong
Yes.
well. In the mid-'90s, An Bui became really interested in craft beer. Now, this was way before it was a big craze. So he very much supported the entrepreneurial spirit of craft beer long before it had taken off. And to this day, Mekong is known for having so many taps. I don't know how many. It's
Oh,
like so
tons,
many,
dozens, yes.
right? And so it's a rite of passage for Richmond beer aficionados. So,
And that is us. We are
Like,
Richmond
we
beer
are
aficionados. I think so. I think
we
so,
are.
yeah.
And so then in 2014, they opened up the Answer Brewpub,
Okay.
which is, of course, the beer, or beer is the answer.
Yes.
Is the kind of name for it. It's attached to the Mekong building, and they're kind of sister relationships.
I didn't realize that we were in the 10-year anniversary also of
We-
the
yeah,
Answer,
that's
right?
right,
It's
that's
2024 now officially.
You're right about that. I don't know when this episode's going to come out, but if you look around, the decorations are for the Tet, the Year of the Dragon.
Yes.
It's the new year coming up February 10th, I think.
Okay.
This episode will probably be out after that, so we're
Okay.
dating ourselves
I
a
hope
little
you
bit.
had a great time celebrating, everybody watching.
That's right, because we definitely did. We definitely did. Okay.
We did it. Love
Yeah,
it.
we did, yeah. Just trust us.
Yes.
Maddie,
Yes,
tell
Stephen.
me a little bit about yourself and where you work right now.
Sure. So my name is Maddie Koerber, and I am the Chief Information Officer at Estes Forwarding Worldwide. As you said, I have been there since January of 2018. And Estes Forwarding, maybe just to give a bit of background as far as who they are, what they do, we're a wholly owned subsidiary of Estes Express Line. So for those in Richmond, very familiar with the Estes name. They've got big trucks with a red and yellow E driving down the road. EFW, or Estes Forwarding, where I work, we are a freight forwarding operation. So historically, we haven't had any trucks, any drivers, but we have relationships with people who have those things, and the planes and trains and automobiles, boats, all of that fun stuff. And since I've been there in 2018, we've grown pretty meaningfully through a number of strategic acquisitions. So we've been really historically focused on domestic freight forwarding, but what's unfolded most recently is the acquisition of a very large international freight forwarding company. And so we've really doubled our footprint, and now could hypothetically bring something from a manufacturing facility overseas all the way to your front door, which is pretty cool.
Interesting. So there's a lot more handoffs going on,
Yes.
I think, with less than truckload. Is that a term you guys use?
Look at you with the lingo, LTL.
I did a little research, a little LTL. So there's a lot more handoffs. So I'm just curious, very briefly,
Yeah.
how's data?
Oh goodness.
How is it essential to your organization?
Okay, so
You
maybe
can be brief. We've got a lot of beers to drink.
that we have 2 extra beers to drink,
That's right.
thanks to our new friend, the bartender.
That's right.
Would it be helpful if I explained to you, top to bottom, how this might work from the beginning all the way to the end?
That'd
And
be
then
amazing.
we'll pull data all the way through.
Perfect. Please do.
So if we're manufacturing widgets in China,
Yep.
those widgets are going to need to get to America, perhaps to be put together into a motor. Okay? And I'm going to talk about this not necessarily from an e-commerce point of view, like you buying something, but from a business buying something.
Sure.
Okay? All of the creation of those widgets in China get put into a big pile, and we need to understand, so that we can build things in the United States, how and when they need to move across the ocean from a supply chain point of view. And so we right now have the ability to order containers to move these widgets across the ocean to the United States to meet manufacturing demands in the States, but along the way also have the ability to warehouse those things. So if we get those widgets there earlier than needed for manufacturing, we also have a warehousing operation. Obviously, we hope to not get them there more slowly than they are needed, but they then might go to the manufacturing facility, and then we would play a role logistically once those things are created, delivering them to a distribution center so that ultimately when you need it, we can get it there too. So every step along the way, visibility from a tracking point of view is super important. And so we play this role as partners to our customers, helping them each step along the way in their supply chain, whether it is truly from origin, getting things from the ports to warehousing facilities, from warehouses to manufacturing plants, from manufacturing plants to distribution centers, and then once those things are all put together, getting them to your home. If it is e-commerce or getting it to,
Your business.
your business.
I imagine that it's just so many data points.
So many data points, yes. And, I'd mentioned we did this acquisition recently. One of the fun things that we're working to solve now is how do we stitch together data from a company that was not historically ours with a company that has been historically ours so that we can paint this full end-to-end picture for our customers.
It's challenging with data, but
but it's fun and exciting. Yeah.
Right. I feel like it's time to dive into these.
Absolutely, let's do it.
Okay, so first and foremost, we have it's a palette cleanser.
This is the palette cleanser.
This is called the Answer Stubby Rather. This is a shout out to our friend Stubby, who
Yes.
was the bartender. This is a very low ABV rather that's for us to drink between beers.
Yes. Okay, cheers. I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
It's like really just nice and light. I feel like close my eyes. It's summertime beer.
Yes, I want to drink
Summertime
that
beer when it's warm
ice cold
outside.
out of the cooler, sitting
Yes.
in the heat. Perfect.
Love that. Okay.
Yeah. Should we go ahead and dig in on our first beer as well?
Sure. Just back to back, a
palate
twofer.
cleanser. That's what it's meant for.
Yes.
Between beers. Let's go.
Okay.
So our first beer is called the Crispy Boy.
Yes.
It's not spelled that way. I'm
No.
not going to try to explain how to spell it. But this is a light beer. This is a Japanese rice lager. I think I got that right. So
Okay.
cheers. Let's give this
Cheers.
a shot.
Oh,
Yeah,
I like that
I
too.
like that a lot.
It's very light, easy. I don't know what I was expecting.
Got a great aftertaste. That's good. I've never had this before. I love this.
We should probably also say we are getting the Answer experience. We'd asked our friend to give us the Answer experience, and so far, so good.
That's right.
I'm liking these a
I
lot.
love this.
Okay.
It's fantastic. Let's move on. Next question.
Okay.
So you've explained where you're at now. You've explained what EFW does.
Yes.
What brought you here? How did you get from young Maddie to where you're at right now?
Oh dear. I think one of the things that has been really interesting with my career is that at the beginning of all of this, I never in a million years could have told you that ultimately, thing after thing after thing, this is where I would have wound up.
Sure.
I think sometimes I will refer to myself as an accidental technologist because that was not what I had studied in school or in business school. I had actually, it's ironic and wonderful that I've wound up at a logistics company because when I was in business school, supply chain management was one of my specialties.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And so I had double majored in that and marketing and fully thought that I was going to go into some sort of marketing pathway.
Right.
My parents ran a family business when I was growing up. Shout out to Buddicky's Paints and Decorating. Founded in 1868. Fifth generation, the generation that my parents were running it. And growing up all through high school, through college, I would work for their business in kind of the marketing and technology space. Like in retrospect, I was doing a whole lot of technology stuff for them, but I always kind of couched it as doing marketing for them. Like I built them a website and I built their logo and did all their email migrations and things.
Marketing's often at the forefront of tech, right?
It is.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, but at the time I didn't really realize what I was doing or kind of training myself to be a part of. And so when I'd gone to school, I thought I was going to do marketing. Eventually found myself doing marketing at a software development firm.
Gotcha.
So I found myself, again, kind of accidentally doing and surrounded by all of these people in tech and got to a point there where I was more interested in the technology and the projects that they were working on than I was in the marketing. The company wound up getting sold and there was a whole bunch of shape-shifting happening there, and there was an opportunity for me to then pivot and do technology project management for these really large ERP efforts.
I could see you being amazing at project management.
I appreciate that. That is where I got my chops in the technology space.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think through all of that, from there the story kind of winds and weaves. But the long and short of it has been coming from a technology project management place and really being able to straddle the line between people who are like in the weeds doing the fingers on keyboard work with the people who don't do that. I mean, going back to being 14 years old, trying to explain to my parents what it was going to take to do an email migration when I was the person doing that.
Sure.
I feel like inadvertently I started building that muscle really early, and it has been the sort of thing that has allowed for effective project management at that juncture in my career, and allowed for really translation of what does our executive team need, what direction are we moving in as an organization, and then communicating that effectively to the team that I'm now very fortunate for being responsible for.
Amazing. That's an awesome. What an awesome journey. That's cool.
It has been cool.
If you weren't doing technology, if you could cut technology out of the picture, what do you think Maddie would be doing these days?
See, this is a really difficult question to answer.
I know.
Because
it wouldn't be fun if it wasn't hard.
It wouldn't be fun. There are so many things that I'm really interested in and I enjoy. And so is this question, what would I do if every single job got the exact same paycheck? Like, you could do whatever you want and money's not an object?
Whatever hypothetical or caveats you want to add, go for it.
I think in that sort of world, I would probably do a whole bunch of different things. It would be a hodgepodge. I imagine we might get to this eventually, but I do quite a bit of painting. Yeah. And so I think that, in this hypothetical world, maybe I would live in a cabin some of the time and just like pontificate and make art. Yeah. I think I also am just really curious and I love learning about people and psychology. And so going down some sort of tract, I don't think that I would ever be a journalist. That's not it. But getting to work with people, talk to people, understand people, help them better understand the way that they're thinking. A hobby of mine is psychology, like studying psychology, understanding my own psychology. And that's very applicable in some ways to the work that I do from the side, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. Can definitely see the practical applications there.
Yeah.
All right, before we move on, why don't we have our second?
Let's do it.
Palate cleanser first.
Oh, yes, of course.
We got to do our Stubby Radler.
Okay.
Which is on its own delicious.
I really like that beer.
Yeah, I really do too, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, our second beer is an IPA.
Okay.
Standard, go-to. Love them in the area, right? Richmond loves an IPA.
Richmond loves an IPA.
This is the Nelson Effect. It's 8%. Let's give it a shot.
Cheers. Yeah. That's a really nice IPA.
It's different. It's like got a different flavor. It's hard for me to describe it. I don't have the vocabulary.
I feel like sometimes an IPA has a very heavy aftertaste, and this does not. It does have a bit of a savory vibe.
I love this.
Yeah, no, it's great.
This is fantastic.
Between the first and the second, what is your current winner?
Oh, that's a good one. I used to hate IPAs, and I've totally done a full 180. But I still think I do like that Crispy Boy a little better. It immediately brought me to summer. I was outside barbecuing.
We were having a barbecue.
I pulled it out of the icy, cold cooler. I could just see that.
The palate cleanser might be my front runner, followed by the IPA. I actually quite enjoyed the IPA.
The palate cleanser is phenomenal.
It's very good.
It's so good. Maddie, I know you personally to be a very artistic, creative person. You already mentioned that. You touched on that a little bit. How do you find that side of you either dovetails with or is sometimes at odds with Maddie, the CIO? I'd love to hear how you kind of, those two juxtapositions come together.
Yeah, I think at face value, you would think that somebody who enjoys painting and is creative in that way would be completely at odds with somebody who works in technology. I think there are stereotypes associated with artists and stereotypes associated with people that work in tech.
Right.
And fundamentally, though, people who work in technology are problem solvers.
Sure.
And in order to be a good problem solver, all you're using is your creativity. Like, it is creative problem solving.
That's a good point.
All the time. And so I feel like that very much plays into the way that I work all the time, and giving guidance to my team as far as how to work around roadblocks. It's how can we solve these problems creatively, step outside of it. I think the other thing with, and this is more an ability to identify with people on my team,
Right.
when painting, in order to really get into it and create, you have to allow yourself the time and space and breadth to drop into that sort of flow state.
Yeah.
And I think, from a programming point of view, in order for people who are doing development to be able
Yes.
to do good work, that sort of time blocking and allowing,
Yes.
having an understanding and respect for what they need in order to do their job well.
Right.
So I think that there's a whole bunch of different pieces and parts to it.
That's so true. That's really insightful, that the flow state between being creative and painting and programming are actually probably not very different.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah.
I had not thought about that. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Aside from painting, talk to me about some of your other hobbies. What do you do? How do you unwind? You were telling me a little bit about it
How do I
earlier.
unwind?
What you're doing on Sundays right now. That's
Sure.
really interesting.
Okay.
That's cool.
So I'll speak about that. I think there's one other just random way that I unwind that, the internet or the podcast may be like, okay, sure.
People are they're gonna comment and be like, what?
What? So I'll keep tugging on the artist thread, and then I will shift gears because that's not the only thing that I do. But one of the things, so I moved to Richmond sight unseen, some background. I was working in Baltimore, working for this software development company doing marketing.
Right.
As this reorg was happening, there was an opportunity to relocate to Richmond. And essentially, the way that the offer came to be, it was a bit of a, do you want to do it? Yes, no, we need an answer fairly quickly because of some
Wow.
restructuring that was happening. And I could have stayed doing marketing, but I had been interested in new chances and things, and so I said, you know what, let's go for it.
Had you even been to Richmond at
Well,
that point?
and that's the thing. I moved to Richmond literally sight unseen.
Oh.
Did not know a
That's
single person
incredible.
here. The first time I came to Richmond was to look for apartments, and the second time I came to Richmond was to move in.
Wow.
And so what was really cool about that is I was able to experience Richmond completely, it was a brand new city to me, and I
Sure.
didn't have necessarily folks to fall into the places that they went. It was a big exploration.
Very cool.
What pockets are mine, aren't mine, which places do I like, what's my routine look like. And so now that I have been here 8 years now, somewhere thereabouts, such as life, you get into a routine, and there's coffee
Right.
shops that you go to and breweries that you go to and places that you go and people that you spend time with. And going into this year, one of the intentions that I wanted to bring with me was treating Richmond like it was a brand new city all over again.
Love that.
And allowing some time and space for my own creativity, right?
Sure.
I do spend a lot of my work time in numbers, in,
Right.
black, white, data, all of that fun stuff. And so carving out some creative time I have found to be really important. And so what I decided to do is mush those things together, came up with a mega list of coffee shops, bars, tea rooms. There are a bunch of tea rooms around Richmond,
interesting.
just miscellaneous outdoor places, restaurants that I hadn't been to, but I had heard about. And I'm going through them one by one and basically taking a sketchbook and teaching myself how to do oil pastels.
That's really
which
cool.
is a medium I'm totally unfamiliar with.
No, that's
Yeah.
fun. I'm gonna have to do a tea room on the next Data Point.
You should
podcast.
absolutely do a tea room. I've got a few that I can recommend to
Okay,
you.
what an interesting concept. I didn't
Yes.
even know that was a thing in Richmond, to be totally honest with you.
Yes, I didn't either.
Yeah.
Yes, so that is big thing that I'm presently doing to unwind. I did tease that there might be another thing. So if you'd like me to share my other thing.
Oh, share your other thing. Why not? Let's hear it. What else you got?
A fun thing that I will do to unwind is I am a big fan of a sauna ice bath
Yes,
combo.
yes.
I thought you might think that I might bring this up.
Yeah, I do know that about you.
You do
yeah.
know this about me. But from an unwind point of view, there's nothing quite like getting really hot in a sauna and then jumping into an ice bath.
Okay, so walk our viewers through what you do. What's your process?
Okay,
Because I
so-
know you've invested in this.
I have.
yourself.
So this developed pretty organically. Another sidebar here is one of the ways that I worked to make friends and find community in Richmond was I did yoga teacher training back in like 2017 or something like that.
Yeah.
And so my yoga practice transpired into a hot yoga practice. And so I have always enjoyed that as a form of, release, stress release. Somehow or another, it got on my radar screen that in Charlottesville, there's a park there that several times a week offers the ability to go sit in a sauna that also has this cold therapy where truly there are these gigantic buckets that are full of ice, and the water is probably 35, 37 degrees. And there are these groups of people. There's like, I think about 10 to 12 at a time, sit in this gigantic sauna. There's a whole bunch of conversation and
Right.
community that gets built, and you get really sweaty in the sauna. There's an outdoor little shower. You're all in bathing suits and such, and you hop in the ice bath, and you go back and forth a couple of times. It's a bunch of crazies that
I get
know,
it. I've now
it's a bit
done
woo-woo.
that. I've experienced that, and
Yes, you
I get
have.
it.
What
I
did you
get it
think?
now.
What did you think?
It was really invigorating.
It is.
You definitely feel like, woo, okay, like
Yes.
I'm alive.
Well, and I think,
Yeah.
this is a weird tie-in back to all the data stuff, but so much of the work that I do keeps me in my head
Right.
all day.
Sure.
And so I feel like whether it is exercise, yoga, this sort of hot, cold therapy, art that brings you shoulders down to
Yeah.
remember like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's right, I've got a body and
Right.
there's a whole, all of me.
I love that.
Enjoy that.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's a great way to put it. I think it's time to go to our next
Let's
beer. What do
do
you think?
it.
Okay,
Love it.
palate cleanser first.
Okay.
I'll be doing on time. Oh, good. Stubby Radler.
Okay.
Okay. Now our third beer is a juice.
Okay.
This is a juice, and it is called Mother of Berries.
Okay.
Okay. This is a fruit beer, 6.66% ABV.
Yikes. Okay.
And I don't normally love beers like this, but I'm going to go in
It's like a beer smoothie.
fully aware.
Okay.
Let's see.
Wow. It's like a dessert
That
smoothie
is
beer. That
really
doesn't even
good.
seem like a beer.
Yeah, that's dangerous. You could drink that quick.
That's 6%, almost 7%.
Yeah, that is really good. I think I was expecting
I like
more
that.
like a Goza. It's not sour at all.
No, that tastes like a raspberry smoothie.
It tastes like a smoothie.
I like
That's
that.
fantastic. Yeah, I probably wouldn't drink more than like a little bit at a
Right,
time.
too much of that, I feel like.
'Cause it's so
I might
sweet,
I might
but-
get a tummy ache,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, a little tum ache, but it's really delicious.
I like
that.
that.
Is fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have one more little
Have another sip.
because it's too good. Before we move on to our next one.
Well, and I feel like, strategically speaking, if you're not a big fan of the smoothies, typically, maybe we should jump to our bonus one before we get to the
Okay,
last one.
let's jump to our bonus.
We don't have to do it now, but
We'll do bonus one next. We got a bonus
we've
drink.
got a bonus
So,
drink
yeah.
from our favorite new bartender.
I love this. You want to co-host this with me? I love this.
Bring me along anytime.
Yeah,
I'm happy to.
You just step in. You know what? We'll tag
hey,
in. We'll tag out.
Look, I'm looking out for your palate.
Yeah,
is what
I
I'm
appreciate
doing here.
that. Yeah, someone has to. Maddie, I know as a CIO, there's a lot of buzz, there's a lot of hype, there's a lot of marketing material. A lot of it is different ways to say the same thing. How do you find yourself kind of just cutting through the noise and helping identify what's best for your team or what's best for your company?
Yeah. There are a couple different ways I feel like I can answer this question, but I think fundamentally, because there is so much noise, one of the things that I have found to be really important is to build a community of people that I know, trust,
Right.
respect, who have a track record of making thoughtful decisions and being able to cut through all of that.
Sure.
Because I think the greatest mistake that I could make is pretend that I know absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And I think that there's wisdom in recognizing what you don't know and asking for help and having
Sure.
those sorts of people that you can lean on for support to move through different things. I mean, I imagine we might get into a bit of a conversation on AI at some point.
It's
the way
coming.
that it's coming in this conversation and
That's
in
right.
the world.
That's right.
But there is so much in that space that changes very rapid. Every single day, things are changing, evolving.
Right.
And having a group of people that I know that I can pick up the phone and call if I've got questions or just need some perspective has been incredibly important. Obviously, there's reading that I do. I will listen to podcasts and all of that stuff.
Right.
But building that sort of network
Yeah.
of folks that do the same sort of thing that I do in this industry, not in this industry, has been by far.
Right. That's interesting, and I know you are very intentional about building relationships.
Yes.
So that's a great way to even leverage that capability of yours, that skill of yours.
I
Yeah.
remember when I was in business school, Business 101, my professor, he kept talking about the importance of building a network. And I
Yeah,
didn't really
yeah, yeah.
understand what that meant. And it can be such a buzzword and
Yes.
kind of sound icky. But that sentiment that sometimes it's more important who you know, not what
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
that it really has rung true.
That's a skill I learned too late, but now I totally get it. I
Yeah.
totally see it. Our CEO, Roman, he talks so much about networking. He's a master of networking, and I've learned so much even just in the last few years working at EPON that I'm like, I see the light. I like totally get it. It's so true. It's
Yeah.
so important and so true for everything. It can just cover so many of our own like blindnesses, our own
Yeah.
weaknesses. Just having people we trust that we can call on.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Very cool. Ready to jump in on our next
Let's
beer?
do it.
Let's do it. Okay, let's do this. This is a bonus
This
beer.
was the bonus
Yeah,
beer, and I feel like I've got to mix it.
Our friend Stubby hooked us up with this. This is the Answers. What's it called? Apes Banana Colada. This is 7.5%.
Banana forward, yes.
Banana forward. You know what? Hold on. I'm gonna cleanse my palate
Oh.
first. This
Oh,
was
God,
given
how could I
us
forget?
for a reason. Yep. Still good.
Okay,
Okay, here we go. Bananas forward.
bananas forward. Oh, wow.
Oh yeah.
That's like a pina
That
colada.
is super good.
So wait, can you read me the
Yeah,
description
you
again?
got
This
it.
was a total surprise to me.
It's a sour smoothie. I'm tasting no sour. It's
Yeah.
just delicious. This is a collab with Apes Curious Confectionery. I don't know who that is.
Okay.
I don't know what that is.
Okay.
A banana white chocolate pina colada. Oh, man.
That's
Yeah.
a fun surprise.
This is a drink by the pool.
This
Absolutely.
a lot of this makes me feel very much like drink by the pool. Meanwhile, for our listeners at home, it is
Yeah.
about 28 degrees outside.
That's right. Yeah, I don't know when this is releasing, but right now it is
very
not
cold.
warm out. It's not warm out at all. Oh, that's fantastic.
I
I'm
like
really glad Subi hooked us up with
Yes,
that.
that
'cause
was a
is
really fun one.
Super good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We already touched on it a little bit. What about AI, all that machine learning, everything that you're hearing about
about
all the
it?
time? What are you excited about?
Oh, I think there's a lot that I'm excited about. Obviously, at a macro level, you talk about creativity.
Yeah.
There is, I think, a ton of opportunity for this sort of technology to take away tasks that are mundane, a lot of paper pushing, that sort of thing,
Right.
to provide people more time, more space for creative problem solving, for doing things that they actually want to be doing.
Right.
And so I think from what it looks like inside an organization point of view, there's a lot of kind of expansion of people's satisfaction in their work.
Sure.
I
Yeah,
think
that makes sense.
there understandably is quite a bit of apprehension and fear associated with, but what about this? Does
Right.
this take away jobs? And I think how all of that shakes out, it's far too soon to see
Yeah.
exactly what that'll look like. But I think that there is a lot of room for quote unquote boring, repeatable, mundane work to get taken off of people's plates so
Right.
that they can use their brains and funnel that sort of brain
Yeah.
power into things that ultimately delivers more value to customers, whatever space you're playing in.
Yeah. Higher value work.
Yeah. I think the other thing, just so that's me thinking as a business person that works for a business. I think on the receiving end already, from a customer experience point of view, I was interacting with my car insurance provider
Right.
earlier this week, and there's so much automation that has been built into my ability to get to what I need more quickly, have things turned around
Right.
in a really seamless way, not to cut the people out of it, but just to ultimately get me what I need more quickly. And so I think that sort of seamless, frictionless engagement with
Yeah.
businesses
Yeah.
is
I'd
another
much
thing.
rather chat with a chatbot who can cover 90% of situations than wait on hold for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And then get routed to someone when I need to escalate.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that there's huge opportunity for the point at which you do then get to the customer service agent if you have the 10% exception, whatever.
Right.
Then you need to have a real conversation about certain things.
Right.
My most recent experience was I was needing to submit a claim to my car insurance provider, and it was really simple. It was a straightforward thing
Right.
that I'm sure they process millions and millions of these, and so it was
Right.
super easy for me to submit the claim. They sent me a text message for me to take pictures of the issue on my car. Like the whole thing, totally automated.
What about AI keeps you up at night? What are you worried about?
Oh, God. I think something that feels very open-ended to me right now is, what does governance look like long-term? To take a bit of a sidestep, but I feel like it's not a totally dissimilar conversation. You know, you think about Facebook and what Facebook was originally intended to be, and how it has shapeshifted over time, and the introduction of all these different social media platforms. And, you know, there's a lot of beauty that comes with the existence of these social media platforms. And then there's a whole bunch of underbelly too. And there's no real big governing body that talks through the morality of all of this, et cetera. And so I feel like there will need to be some sort of reckoning with that in the space of AI as well.
Yeah, it's kind of the Wild West still.
It is, very much. And I think it will continue to be for a while. So I don't know what that looks like, but I think that is one of the things that I think about.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting times for sure.
It is, yeah.
Shall we roll into our last beer before we get into our final questions?
I love it.
Okay, now, I used to love a stout. Like, stouts used to be my #1 beer, and I have quickly...
That's a fun fact.
...kind of lost my taste for stouts. I don't know what changed, but you know what? So far, not one of these beers has even remotely disappointed me. This has been amazing. I've
really
loved every one of these.
We've had the Answer experience.
That's right. That's right. So I'm going to drink my palate cleanser.
Can't forget.
Okay. This is the Jamaican Coconut Diablo Brunch. I have no idea what to expect with that.
Okay.
I will say this was named for a former bartender, the Answer, who passed.
Yes.
Who, you see a lot of Diablo references here. I guess that was a nickname, so it's a very sweet tribute. And let's give it a shot.
Cheers.
Here we go.
It smells good. Oh, wow.
Yeah, wow. That's delicious.
It's like a rich, chocolatey coffee.
Yeah.
Like, it almost is like a cold brew.
Yeah, it kind of tastes like a coffee stout.
Yeah.
Whew, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
10 out of 10.
Yeah, every single one of these has been great. There's not one that I'm like, I would not drink that again.
Absolutely.
I would buy every single one of these again in a heartbeat.
Yes.
And probably will
listener,
before we leave.
too.
There you go. Yes. We are not sponsored, but we should be.
We should be.
After
this is really yummy. Yeah.
All right, what's been your favorite so far?
Ooh, of the beers?
Of the beers.
I think if I had to order them, like, I really love the palate cleanser.
Yep.
IPA.
Yep.
Lager. The smoothies, I might go banana this and then the coffee.
Okay, that's interesting. I think
What's your order?
almost the same, to be honest, except I think I would just switch the berry and the banana.
Okay.
But I wouldn't order these in anything bigger than like a taster.
Agree.
Because I wouldn't drink like a glass of that. I think they're just a nice palate cleanser. But the actual palate cleanser,
fantastic.
I would drink I would
lot
drink
of
10 of those
Yeah.
in the summer.
Yeah.
And they're low ABV, so I'd probably be more or less okay.
And that's what he said that the whole purpose was, is that you can have a whole bunch of them while you're hanging out and chilling.
Yeah. But that lager, the Crispy Boy, the IPA, they've been just fantastic. These are great beers.
Great beers.
Okay. All right, let's move into our last couple of questions here.
I'm ready. Now it's just a free-for-all. I can...
Yeah, just, you know what,
whatever.
you drink whatever. Just make sure to cleanse your palate between, because Stubby hooked us up with the palate cleanser. Don't do him a disservice.
Okay.
Big question for you.
Okay.
No wrong answers here. What do you see changing in the next 5 years in the data and AI space? And if you'd like, you can keep it constrained to your domain, logistics, or maybe just generally, whatever you feel comfortable. And we're going to check. I'm going to make a reminder in 5 years, I'm going to come watch this video.
Okay.
And the closest without
You'll come
going
back to
over.
this brewery.
Yep.
You'll get the whole flight again.
That's right. Exactly.
So I think to start, anything that I say when you come back and watch this 5 years from now, 10 years from now, will be wildly off course.
It's going to be fun. We're going to do a watching party, and we're going to have good laughs.
Yes, because...
Or we're going to be like, oh my God, you were so prophetic.
I think, you think about 2018, 2019, what was going on, and you'd have no idea. There's no way that you would know what's happening now. To jump back in time to 2013, 2014, same thing. So I think... maybe in simple and very amorphous terms, so I can seem like a bit of a prophet. I think it's going to continue to become less and less cumbersome for us
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
communicate with businesses from a customer's point of view.
Sure.
I think we'll talk about frictionless engagement with our customers. I think that universally across industries, customer service will really see a huge benefit from a lot of the AI that's happening. You know, in the logistics space, I think we were talking about visibility of pieces and parts along the life cycle of, you know, the widget or a shipment or what have you. I think
Right.
visibility, already you have seen huge increases in what it looks like to track your shipment. You can track your driver in many cases
Right.
to
Yeah.
see when they're coming to your door. Excuse me. You can text with your driver, those sorts of things. I think from a visibility point of view, as far as things along the way, that will continue to get better. I also think one of the big benefits of this sort of machine learning AI is the ability to consolidate research, make determinations about huge amounts of data.
Yes, yes.
And so, like, I think about the healthcare industry and being able to more quickly diagnose things, you know, from a
Sure.
pattern recognition point of view. I think that there will be huge improvements, perhaps, in the ability in the healthcare space to make quick diagnoses of things.
Right.
I don't know the word that I'm looking for, but
I think even executives in like business intelligence, it's going to be so
yeah.
much easier to say, how did this region do and why is it underperforming?
Yes.
Right? Those kinds of questions are no longer going to take months to
No.
build in spreadsheets.
yeah, I just
Maybe.
think access to information is just, we're
Right.
going to see a gigantic speed improvement there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was all over the place with my answer, but
That's
what I
okay.
think.
Everyone's all over the place with their predictions.
Yeah.
It's a wild time.
It is.
Okay. Last question for you.
Okay.
What advice would you give to someone who's either new to tech or thinking about a career move into tech? So someone brand new in their career, what advice would you give?
I think one of the greatest accidents for me was a total openness to not having a really clear idea of this is exactly what I'm going to be doing. And I think in this ever-changing tech landscape, obviously having a direction is important, but I think that it is a huge benefit to you as an individual to be open and curious to what opportunities may come your way. Because if you are a hungry, curious individual, there will be no shortage of opportunities. And so I think in the tech space, listen, learn, do a lot of research.
Sure.
You know, I listen to so many podcasts to just get perspective from other people about things that they're thinking about, listening to themselves. So I think, you know, do what you can to learn and be really open, and
Right.
don't be afraid to say yes to opportunities that really scare you.
Love it. That's interesting. And yeah,
And do a sauna and an ice bath.
sauna and an ice bath. That's it. That's number one. You got to separate your.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Cool. Maddie, thank you so much. It's been a blast. Any
has been really
closing wisdom, closing thoughts you'd like to share?
I don't think so. Thank you so much for having me on.
You're
and if
welcome.
you ever need a co-host to come back,
I'm
hey,
saying, the wheels
your
are
girl.
already turning. All right, this has
you.
been awesome. Thank you. And thanks everybody for watching the Data Pour. Until next time, let's toast to knowledge and connection one episode at a time.
Cheers.
Cheers.